Here, best on best is a nightly attraction. The players are waiting in the wings of the world stage.
Gets the Hobie Baker Award this year. He can do it all from
Hellebuck save, rebound, he's able to cover it up. The 16th goal of the season for Jack Eichel. Puck comes to Kreider, he scores!
Here, there are decades of rivalry, drama, and triumph.
Army for Rooney, scores! Prominent Twins Hockey East!
Here, champions are forever. This is Hockey East, and the future is here.
Brilliant win in overtime. They score! Richard wins it! Traffic, Ritzkovian, score! And he scores! Taylor McCarr wins it in overtime for Maine. The Hockey East Rookie of the Year makes BU Hockey East champs, and the Northeastern Huskies win the Hockey East Championship. The University of Maine wins the longest game in Hockey East history.
Well, was the red carpet ever out earlier today? And these two fan bases are ready to see their team crowned a champion. What an effort for the Maine Black Bears last night, outlasting Northeastern in double overtime, and they get the red-hot UConn Huskies today as we crown the 2025 Hockey East champion. From TD Garden in Boston, welcome to NESN's coverage of the 2025 Hockey East Championship between 4-seed UConn and 2nd-seeded Maine. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Billy Jaffe, Eric Galanti, George Bellecci downstairs. What a day we had yesterday with UConn really making a statement over BU in their victory against Maine, who had to go to double overtime, and they do get the victory over Northeastern. Let's start with these UConn Huskies, though, and their stars certainly showed up in a big way yesterday, and none of them has been better recently than Joey Muldowney.
No, he had points in 10 straight coming into that game, making 11 now. Not that he just had a point. He had 3 goals in 3 different ways, and the line was fantastic. Wondering how they would be without their captain, Shandor. Well, Tattles jumps up to that top spot. Richard and Muldowney combined for the goals. Muldowney had 3 goals 3 different ways. You saw one there at the end on the backhand, empty netter, but he was all around the puck. He's got a lot of Cam Atkinson in his game. This is a guy that's tough to get off the puck. He's great release, and he's confident. And along with Richard, and I guess whoever's in the middle, they are one of the top lines, not just in Hockey East, but in the country.
Yeah, they've been so good. No Hudson Shandor again today for UConn. On the other side for Maine, we talked about it a lot yesterday. Their depth is such a key to what they do, and that was really on display after they had a lead and then had to come back in that third period.
Yeah, coach didn't like how they had to get going again. A little frustrated perhaps with that, the fact they're up 2-0, only to give up that lead 3-2. But then they get a goal from a guy that you would not assume would be getting on the score sheet, and Luke Antonacci. And it's important to note that this team had their 10 previous goals were scored by 10 different players. Well, you add this guy into the mix. He had a really good game, by the way. A subtle little play at the blue line. He ends up tying the game up. And then for good measure, Nolan Renwick, after Charlie Russell turns, shoots, and look at the way Renwick gets down there. Wins it in double overtime. Love the crouch. Love how he protects to make sure the puck can't get through him. And this Maine team that was really good, in particular in the overtimes. That's where we really saw them, Eric, at their best. They came through.
It was their 61st shot on goal of the game that ends up going win for that double overtime victory for Maine over Northeastern. Who wins that Lamoriello trophy? It's Maine and UConn, the 2-seed versus the 4-seed. We crown a champion coming up right here on NESN Plus. Continuing to get you set for this 2025 Hockey East Championship between UConn and Maine. Somebody is going to walk home a champion. Maine trying to be the first time in over 2 decades, and UConn looking for their first title ever. George Bellecci caught up with both captains, John Spetz and David Brazil.
John, you returned for your 5th year for nights like tonight. How are the emotions right before the championship game?
Just trying to keep it in check, just try to stay level-headed. We're excited, and we're going to chip away at this thing, stick to our process.
This is a dangerous Maine attack. Where does the blue line need to execute to succeed tonight?
We just got to be in their face. We got to play simple and just stick to our process. We know it works, and like I said, we're excited to just chip away at this thing.
And you played in a championship game as a sophomore. How does that past experience help tonight?
Definitely helps the nerves a little bit, but just a hockey game at the end of the day, and I think we're ready to win this thing. So we're just going to chip away at this and stick to our process.
Thanks, John. Best of luck. David, less than 24 hours from that double overtime win. How's the energy of the team feeling?
You know, it's really good. It's a championship game, so it's an easy one to get up for. We were able to take care of ourselves last night and this morning and get ourselves ready to go, so we're fired up.
This will be the 4th time you're facing this UConn team. What will be key to beating them tonight?
They're a great team. You know, they're really aggressive. They're fast. They play hard, so we're going to have to go out there and be on top of our game. We're going to have to move pucks quick, be connected in all 3 zones, and make sure we're getting to the net and hopefully getting a few on this guy.
And we're in TD Garden, but it's packed with Maine fans. What do you gain from the support from all these Black Bear fans?
It's unbelievable. I mean, we've been saying it ever since I've gotten here. Best fans in college hockey. So it's awesome for everybody to come out and hopefully bring this thing back home to Orono.
And how does it feel to be on the cusp of history?
It's incredible. You know, it's been an awesome ride, my 4 years here, and we're just looking forward to the challenge tonight. Just taking it one moment at a time and just soaking it all in. It's going to be a special night.
Thanks, David. Best of luck.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
David is certainly right. It feels like the entire state of Maine has made the trip down to TD Garden. What a night it was last night in the semifinals. UConn making a statement. Maine outlasting Northeastern in double overtime. Who wins the Hockey East Championship? Come find out with us up next. A lot on the line tonight. Maine looking for their first Hockey East Championship since 2004. UConn looking for their first ever and maybe a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament on the line as well. Let's go downstairs to the national anthem sung by Shea Braceland.
And Kevin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise if you're able and remove your caps for the singing of our national anthem to be performed tonight by Shea Braceland.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's do it. Maine and UConn for a Hockey East Championship on the line here today. And what a job that both of these head coaches have done with these respective programs. UConn, the number 4 seed, Maine, the number 2 seed. Mike Cavanaugh was voted the Hockey East Coach of the Year by his peers. He talked about a vision for UConn when he got there 12 years ago. Ever since they moved up to Hockey East right around that time, they've continued to try to climb the ladder. The best regular season they ever had this year, and now they're back in the final. Where they were in 2022, they lost that game in overtime to UMass, trying to win a championship for the first time. And Ben Barr on the other side for Maine. This is his 4th year. We talked about it a lot yesterday, the climb that he's made, kind of reawakening this blue blood of the sport. He's done a wonderful job, and this is the next step for his program.
Both coaches very proud of their team yesterday. You know, there were little ups and downs here and there, but they said overall with the resiliency, how hard they worked, how they stuck to the system. Both these teams have got a lot of players with experience in their lineup, and I think that will make for a great game here tonight.
UConn switched goalies back and forth ever since the start of January, so it's Tyler Muslick's turn. He was great in the quarterfinal against Providence, 32 saves and a 3-1 victory. We'll talk about his story. Coming in from New Hampshire as a transfer this year, finding a new home, and there is Albin Boya, who's been one of the best in the country all year long. 33 saves against Northeastern in that semifinal win last night. Quick turnaround for Maine from the late game. In double overtime, UConn, who got to sit and watch after their 5-2 victory over Boston University. Ryan Tattle and Harrison Scott for the opening faceoff of this Hockey East title game, won by Maine, and we are off from TD Garden. David Brazil for Maine, one of the captains who George talked to earlier. He played the most minutes for Maine last night with over 36 minutes in that game that went 91 minutes long.
Little thing, but important to point out here. You saw what Music just did on that first play? Comes out, handles the puck. These are pretty much mirror image teams. They love to dump the puck in. They love to have F1 and F2 attack. They love to control wall battles. I think whichever goaltender doesn't overdo it but can handle the puck just enough, just a little bit to eliminate a couple of forechecks could have a difference in this game.
Just get into the flow of the game. New building here for Muslick. UConn certainly didn't look like they had any kind of problems playing in this NHL building.
No.
For the first time for most of these players. Face-off was a huge place where Maine really controlled that game yesterday, especially considering Northeastern has been a very good face-off team this year. Maine is top 15 in the country on the face-off all season long. That should be a place of advantage here today. Brazil gets to the puck and brings it through center for the Black Bears. He has Thomas Friel out wide. First shot got deflected and it missed around wide. This top group for Maine was really impressive, and we called their names a lot yesterday. Scott, Friel, and Josh Nadeau, especially Josh Nadeau in that overtime for Maine. He ended up with 7 shots in yesterday's game. Jake Percival hacks at it on the near side. Here is Ross Mitten from the outside, and that deflects out of play. Let's check in downstairs with the third member of our team, George Pilecki.
Yeah, guys, the key for tonight for Maine is actually the recovery. Coming off that double overtime victory, it's not just a short turnaround, but the wear and tear on their bodies. Talking with Nolan Renwick last night, the guy that had the game-winning goal, he said you got to stick to the hydration, got to get plenty of sleep, and that's the key to it all. As for Ben Barr, he said not a ton of video prep. They don't need a lot of motivation because they haven't beaten UConn yet.
We heard a couple of the guys say, I even saw it in the hotel today, a couple of the guys, look, it's the Hockey East final. We're going to have no problem getting up for this game, no matter what happened last night.
Yeah, no question about it. Look, they're going to be tired, but they're young kids. They'll be okay. I think they'll recover.
Here is Heaslip. His chance got deflected off the leg of Jurasevich, and it comes to the near side.
I talked to Ben Barr earlier today. He said he got to sleep about 2:30 in the morning, but he's the coach. You know, he's not worried about his kids. He said they're going to be fine.
Some of it's just turning off the mental side of it, right? I mean, you can see it at his press conference. He was like, I'm kind of still spinning right now after all of that.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to come down from that high.
Puck's been on this end of the ice for the most part so far. Is Charlie Russell, who set up that game-winning goal on an excellent play, throwing it towards the net, and got the tip from Renwick on the far side. And here is Renwick, who picks it up. Taylor McCarr comes in. McCarr's shot is kicked away by Muslick.
Boy, we did not see that from McCarr yesterday at all. I thought he kind of he was a little hesitant, maybe struggled a little, not there.
Also plays it back in after the hit. Gardula was the one who got knocked down for UConn. And another big hit. Gardula got crunched twice. So Maine getting their checks in early on in this game. No reason to think this should not be physical. And here is Oscar Komarov, who comes in at this fourth line of the ice for Maine. We did not see a ton of them as that game went on yesterday. You figure we'll see more of them today.
No, you have to.
Off of last night.
You have to. It's imperative that Ben Barr gets them more ice. And Komarov led the way for the bottom line guys with 9:56 ice time. Scholey gets some power play time, so he had 16 minutes, but the other two not enough.
His shot was blocked up high by Murtagh, who again is the skater in today because once again, no Hudson Shandor for UConn. He took warm-ups just like he did yesterday. They decided he could not go, was injured in that quarterfinal game against Providence. Here's Friel right to the net and the save by Muslin. Friel's had a couple of good looks from that side of the ice so far.
Was close to offside that play. Linesman deemed it was on though, and Friel turned the corner.
Friel got knocked down, but it's Nadeau who picks it up for Holtz. Far wall, his shot deflected. And Richard gets it out to center for Muldowney. Connecticut team that had to come back in the game yesterday. They were down 1-0 after an early power play goal by BU. Both games in this tournament, Connecticut has trailed early in the first period and come from behind. There is Antonacci, who showed you that key goal that he scored late in the third period to tie the game. Percival sends it back the other way. Maine Black Bears 23 wins this year, which matches last year's total. 23-7-6 for Maine. They've lost just 2 games in regulation since January 3rd. Lyndon Green tried to play a backhand, the captain of the Black Bears, who missed 16 games. Here's Nopes from the outside, that missed wide. Hacked out by Fraser, who scored a key goal for UConn last night. One thing that was so successful for UConn in that game was their forecheck. We talked about that a lot. It'll be interesting to see if they can get to it against this Maine team that does a good job not letting you get there.
But they're mirror images, these teams, of each other. Both coaches pretty much did the same thing about, like, you know, I feel like I'm looking at my team, or, you know, they want to do the same thing we want to do. Both teams want to get on the forecheck very aggressively. They send their D, whether it's in the neutral zone or down the wall, very aggressively as well. They're looking for big hits. I think whichever team can control the puck through the neutral zone and break the puck out well has an advantage here.
Here is Gardula, Ethan Gardula, one of the freshmen on this UConn team, a top 10 recruiting class for Mike Cavanaugh this year, which has added so nicely to all of these veterans who have taken really nice jumps in their point production this year. A ton of grade A's so far, 5.5 minutes into this first period of this Hockey East Championship game.
No, Maine's had 1.5, you know, the McCarr opportunity from the left side, and then Friel busting down that right side.
Philip Sitar got pinned in by Jurasevich. Transfer in from Merrimack. Sitar looking to find Richard, couldn't quite get the pass all the way to him. And then Holt gets knocked down in the neutral zone. Pass forward for Jake Richard off a 4-assist game yesterday. Massinio comes down, and that's deflected high off the glass. Jurasevich comes through center. Here is Harrison Scott moving through, got pushed off. That's Muldowney on the back check.
Wow, great breakout by Jurasevich, and then an awesome back check. Both teams moving.
Scott coming back in, goes wide of the pass, shot up high, missed the net. Thomas Friel's had 3 or 4 opportunities here already. UConn Huskies 22-10-4 their record this year. They are unbeaten in their last 9 coming in today. And Carabin taken away by Owen Fowler. Scored 2 goals for Maine that built the 2-0 lead for the Black Bears early in that game. That Northeastern then came back from and scored 3 unanswered. Tristan Fraser comes all the way around. Leaves it down low, Percival right to that. Boy, I got a stick on it. John Spetz, the veteran. Spetz, the only player on the ice who played in that 2022 final. Shandor did as well, but of course not going today.
There are guys that are like heat-seeking missiles out there right now, looking to make a big hit. Moments ago, Ross Mitten in the neutral zone tried to line them up.
Both these teams getting their way into this championship game. 12:36 remaining in this opening period between UConn and Maine in the Hockey East final.
Welcome back to TD Garden. No score here between Maine and UConn in the championship game for Hockey East. Listen, yesterday for UConn, normal game. Spetz, 22.5 minutes. Nyberg, another defenseman at 21 minutes. Tattle, the center who jumped up from the second to the first line, 20.5 minutes. Pretty good. But take a look at the Black Bears numbers. Eric Brazil leading the way for everybody in that game. 36-11. Jurtsevich, 32.5. And then Scott led all forwards at 32.07. Everybody got involved. Again, except for a couple guys near in the fourth line, the Komarovs, Bichette, Nemos. And I talked to Ben Barr about that today. Says, I'm going to have to find them a couple of more minutes. Just given the situation and get them out more. We didn't see 3 or 4 of those guys come overtime at all. And so the drain on those guys, not just the amount of minutes, but the type of minutes in the single and double overtime, is something to be considered. But UConn as well, they're very comfortable playing their fourth line 10 to 12 minutes regularly. Is that an advantage? You would think. Biggest advantage, obviously, is that they didn't have to play into double overtime.
Yeah, these teams play back-to-backs all year, but you're talking about playoff minutes at 36, 32, whatever those numbers are. By the way, how about for Northeastern, Vinny Borghese, 41 minutes
Crazy.
for the Huskies.
Now he's the player, as you talked about, leading the country in ice time.
Yep, that went up yesterday. Here is Sheahan for the wall, throws it towards Boya, missed his net high, and it's around for John Spetz, who plays it back in. Ethan Whitcomb for Gardula, turns his shot, and a glove save by Albin Boya.
Yeah, nice shift, good offensive zone, moving the puck behind the net on the wall. The Whitcomb line was pretty good yesterday, talking about minutes. The all freshman line, Gardula, Whitcomb, and Shan, they all played solid minutes. Whitcomb was really good in the first period. Mike Kavanaugh talked about he may have been our best player in the first period. Just the best line, how they were out there. But they're all freshmen. The thing about Whitcomb that's impressive, young kid, but big, 6'4", 210 presence. He's one of those guys next year or two, I think you're going to see a big leap from as well.
Face-off win for UConn. Here's another freshman. Trey Scott uses the wall. Gets to Sitar, tried to center back up, but Sholey is right there for Maine. Yeah, that freshman line has been together basically the whole year for Mike Kavanaugh. Sheahan and Gardula played together last year, coming in Sioux City in the USHL, so that certainly helped build some of that chemistry early on. Loose puck on the side of net for a moment. And it's Jurtsevich. Sholey trying to get it out.
And like a lot of freshmen nowadays, they're mature. They're 20, 21 years old.
Here is Komarov. Definitely noticeable that this fourth line has been out there in the early going for Maine. Antonacci pinches down with Scott getting a hit and then a centering pass. Nadeau trying to find Friel coming right off the bench. And Richard brings it back out the other way for Connecticut. Ball Downey up top for Masidio. Throws it across. Nick Karabin with space. That's blocked. Well, UConn starting to turn the ice back a touch. As Bodie Nobes couldn't get it beyond the UConn D. And Jake Percival got off to such a good start this year. Percival had 8 points in his first 7 games. Owen Fowler scored twice yesterday and a save by Muslik.
And Fowler with jump getting in, being the first and only forechecker on that play. 2 goals yesterday, 27.5 minutes for the kid who didn't play at all last season, given the broken kneecap that he had to overcome. 7 shots in that game. A lot of confidence. He also turned the puck over near the end of the second period that led to Northeastern goal. So, there was a lot of ups in that game, but that wasn't a play I'm sure that, he'll look at it and say, I can't do that. I've got to make sure to get the puck in deep.
Yeah, he had 7 shots, as you mentioned. I mean, there were a bunch of guys who had that. They had 61 shots on goal and 137 shot attempts in the game yesterday. Percival couldn't bring it in, and there was Gustafsson. Nyberg plays it around for Spets to get to it. Kept in as Mitten couldn't clear it. Here is Fraser, leaves it behind for Heaslip, and a save by Boya.
Coaches always talk about making sure puck's out and puck's in, meaning puck's out at your own blue line and puck's in at the offensive blue line right here. Mitten picks it up, but it's a really good close by Heaslip, who, again, a player that elevated his game yesterday with Shandor out. He jumps up a couple of spots in the line to the center, Fraser and Percival. He's a good read. He's above the puck there, stick towards it, keeps it deep, or keeps it in, and then UConn re-attacks.
Heaslip playing with Percival and Fraser again. That's part of Shandor being out. So Tattle is up with Richard and Muldowney, and Heaslip in between Percival and Fraser. That was untouched and icing.
And while it's been energetic, and we've seen some players looking for big hits so far, I don't know about cautious is the right word, but controlled a bit. You know, we're not seeing wide open play. I don't think either of these teams really look for that. You know, I mean, they want to grind you down. They want to work you. They want to use their shoulder pads. They want to get in on the forecheck and wear you down over a course of time. It can be a tough way. It's a fun way to play. It can be a tough way because it's tiring. You're always looking for the physical element.
Feels in some ways similar to what we saw from UConn in that first period yesterday, where it wasn't a ton of shots. It felt like they were reasonably in control at times.
Another big hit, neutral zone.
Yes, it was. Gave up the goal to BU, but they were kind of still in it and then really took off from there. And I loved what Mike Cavanaugh said after the game. He said the message after that first period, don't get bored of doing what works. And UConn certainly did not, as they dominated the last 2 periods.
Well, and we heard Spence say to George in one of the pregame interviews, he used the word process, right? You know, chip away. He repeatedly said that, and process. So it's in their head. If you stick with it, eventually you wear down your opponent. You're going to create some mistakes, and you're going to get your opportunities.
Sitar gets it for Larkin, and Sitar will bring it through center. Under 9 minutes remaining here in this first period. No score between Maine and UConn.
We saw a good breakout there, and then how about the back check? So both teams, they're diligent right now. It's just, again, it's only 7 shots combined, though, and we're more than halfway through the first.
Fourth time these two teams playing this year. UConn has not lost to these Maine Black Bears, 2-0-1. In fact, that was such a crucial weekend for UConn in the middle of January. As this is icing here, they went up to Maine kind of right in that stretch of time that UConn was starting to turn around their season. They go up, they take 4 points from Maine, 4 of 6. They were the only team to win the majority of the points in a series at Alphon this year.
And that guy right there
was good.
Had a big part of it. Now, how about this? Speaking of 4 points, he had 4 goals in that first game alone. So a major part in that team's success going into Alphon, which is such a hard place to go and play. 15 wins this year for the Black Bears at Alphon.
Centering pass, Richard got knocked down. That's Bodie Nobes who makes a good play. And Maine comes out, maybe numbers here. Nadeau fires it forward for Scott, hit the side of John Spets' leg. Antonacci then throws it towards that. Music did knock it down, didn't know where it was at first. It was on the side of the net.
No idea.
Ended up not being in a dangerous area. Now Scott tries to turn one. And here is Richard out from the far wall. It is a long season in college hockey. You need those wins if you're going to have success. Those kind of wins where you start to believe, right? You see all the work start to pay off in a way. And that win for UConn up at Maine certainly was one of those early.
Yeah. Let's go back to the play you talked about where the puck's going to come off the stick of Antonacci. It's real high. Music sees it, then loses it, and you see how he just backs right up. Thankfully, we've got to remember the goalie union here tonight. They weren't represented last night, just forwards last night. Razor's here tonight, so I'm sure he can chime in on that a lot better than I can. But you notice he just goes back to protect the crease. But as you said, the puck was in a non-dangerous area. He didn't know that at first, though, and he just goes back in. He kind of Homer Simpsons it back in.
Here comes Breen. Lyndon Breen scores! Captain Breen makes it 1-0 Maine.
Eric, the last player to play for Red Gendron, gets the first goal of this championship game. Scoots down the right side as the puck is chipped out, and then right there, it's just sifted out into the neutral zone. Breen picks it up. He's a lefty. The puck is to the inside. It's a better angle. Watch right there. He gives it to the inside. Is he going to pass over to Fowler, or is he going to shoot? He elects to shoot low on the ice for the first goal of the game. The little chip out of the zone, though, a huge part to this. And then the finish by the captain through the 5-hole.
Lyndon Breen, who missed 16 games due to injury. His first game back was actually at UConn at the end of February. Such a crucial part of this Maine team. He entered the season as hockey's active leader in points. But again, we talk about the depth of this group being able to survive it, him being out for that long. But what a massive goal he just scored. And the Maine Black Bears have a 1-0 lead in this Hockey East title game. There's a centering pass. It's Russell in, and a save by Muslik. We called Russell's name a lot yesterday.
Who's scooting?
Percival, there was a player down on the far side for UConn, so that's why it came in offside with Heaslip on the ice. 6:30 remaining in this first period, and Lyndon Breen, what a moment. His third point of this playoffs, and Maine with a 1-0 lead early.
Eric, let's go back to the goal off the face-off here. It's actually going to start with Lyndon Breen. He's going to get it. Go ahead and roll it. And then just watch the support as the puck is going to be chipped up off the wall by Jurasevich, and it's bobbled, and then right there the stick by Breen maybe gets it just enough, but then it's Nadeau's behind him who doesn't force it. He just softly, almost with this enough of a oomph on it to get it by the defender, and it sets Breen off to the races down the side there. Nadeau was really, really good in overtime. Yeah. First and second overtime, he was really good, very noticeable. Not so much in game. It was harder. There wasn't a lot of space at times out there. This is a kid who loves to have the puck on his stick. Comes through with a nice assist, and again, the captain comes through with a nice goal.
It's kind of a good representation of Nadeau's year, right? He had such an impressive season last year as a freshman. Yep. 45 points playing with his brother Bradley. It's been a different year this year, right? He hasn't had to be that #1 option, that focal point, but he does so many of those little things. And now Muldowney back the other way. He shoots. Boy, the save and then the follow-up. Skip through the crease. Nearly had Boya moving the other way for a potential pass there, and Muldowney went with the shot and nearly snuck it by. So for the third game in a row in these Hockey East playoffs, UConn trailing early in this first period. Good effort there by Breen. He's right back on it, but then Scott follows up the play.
7th goal of the season for Maine.
Sitar spins a pass, goes all the way through. Scott plays it to the slot. It's loose for a moment, but Bodie Nobes pushes it forward. Maine is on their game right now with a 1-0 lead here. 5:12 remaining in this first period. Hugh Larkin, transfer in from Western Michigan to UConn this year. Here is Russell, goes wide with it. Masinio, the veteran, they got spun down together. Renwick with a good effort play. Making life difficult for UConn to get it out. They can't clear here as Holt holds his spot.
Nice play by Holt. Very nice play.
The centering pass comes through, but nobody there. How big is that early goal? Again, all the stuff we've talked about coming off of last night to just get one, kind of relax and settle in if you're Maine. Renwick right back in, missed wide. Then nearly got the follow-up and ends up being kicked right into Muslik. More on that as we continue with 4:18 remaining in this first period. A 1-0 lead for the Maine Black Bears.
Welcome back to TD Garden. Maine with a 1-0 lead over UConn here in the first period of the Hockey East Championship game. Coming up at the first intermission, Brian Boyle, Andrew Raycroft with us tonight. We'll break down the first period. Also throughout the night, guys, we'll look at the evolution of both programs. Of course, UConn under Mike Cavanaugh and Maine under Ben Barr. And Razor, as you know, guys, was on Cavanaugh's staff when he first got to Storrs. So we'll talk about that coming up.
It really is a great moment for both of these programs as they have been building kind of to this moment. There was a penalty called at the end of this sequence, a tripping call against Ethan Whitcomb right there.
Yeah, it was a leg, they deemed a leg trip on Jurasevich. And I just saw the fall through. I didn't see the contact, but the officials felt that that was first penalty call of the game.
So now the Maine power play to work, and Sholey right to the net. It just got by Muslik's left pad. This power play had so many chances yesterday. Sholey straight on and a save by Muslik.
And this is where
12 shots yesterday.
Yes,
power play.
Yeah, Sully Sholey will get some extra ice time here. He gets out. He's, I don't say a specialist, but he gets this opportunity given his shot, given his instinct for the puck. He was able to walk into one there, but a good save by Tyler Muslik.
He scored a power play goal in that quarterfinal win against Lowell. 7-1 last Saturday. Jurasevich straight on. That got deflected. And Owen Renwick, the game-winning goal scorer yesterday, picked it up for a moment. And UConn clears. What did you like about what you saw from this Maine power play yesterday?
That movement, you know, good movement. Their defensemen involved. And they didn't force. They didn't, you know, they're not predictable, didn't force stuff.
Jurasevich centers. Good play there by Tabor Heaslip in a good spot. UConn penalty kill, 82% for the season. Nadeau comes in. He scores! It's a power play goal, and it's 2-0 Maine.
Nadeau has had the puck on his stick more already in this game, in the first period, than he did the first 3 periods of last night. And you want to talk about open space. Holy smokes, does the kid pick it up. It's wind-up time. Down the side, and he takes off. Outside, inside, moving another one. And then he gets the goaltender leaning left, and he beats Muslik back to the blocker side. This is what we saw last year a bit from him, and what a goal in the championship game. I don't know if you caught it, but the natural audio as he was turning up the ice of his teammates saying, "Go Josh, go Josh." He picked it up on his crossovers, and boy did he ever go.
Josh Nadeau with his 10th goal of the season. This felt like it had been coming, right? That's points in 7 of his last 9 games. We've talked about it a lot. A different year, but a successful year, and especially here recently. And for the second night in a row, Maine has a 2-0 lead over now the UConn Huskies in this Hockey East title game. Here is Sitar, centers right in front. There was a good chance for Larkin, but he missed the net wide. Trey Scott for the outside. Now Jan Maria, the kick save made by Boya. He got bumped a little bit at the end of it. Still going Jan Maria. Uses the wall. And it comes here to Sitar. Good pushback shift here by the 4th line. Sitar shoots. That hit the post. Well, there's the response. Owen Fowler back in now. After the power play goal by Josh Nadeau. Antonacci straight on, kick save by Muslik. The assist in that goal, by the way, Albin Boya gets the assist to make it 2-0 Maine here in the first.
Boya's had a couple of good this game, and yes, appropriate that he gets the assist. He set it up for Nadeau.
And you mentioned it, which goalie can play the puck a little bit better today to help out their team?
I think it'll be a key. I do. I think it will absolutely help their teams.
Maine right back in. Shot from Nadeau is knocked down. This is not a position these UConn Huskies have been in very often recently. They have not trailed by 2 goals in a game since February 8th against UMass Lowell, when they had to come up from behind late in that game. They also haven't lost a game, period, since February 7th. Jurasevich missed wide. Hold from the outside. That got knocked down. And Jake Richard with a little bit of room. With 1:32 remaining here in the first period, a 2-0 lead for Maine. Fraser and Jurasevich come together in the corner. And Messinio go back to get it for UConn. No icing. Messinio stick broke, trying to get a pass away. It's Breen again, and a kick save by Muslik. Big hit. Breen with space, gives it to Chabrier, save. Rebound loose in front of Muslik. Then the follow just missed by Chabrier. What pressure here for Maine in the final minute of this first period. Breen plays it over for Brazil. Makes a move around Fraser. They have UConn on their heels right now. And Messinio doesn't have a stick for the Huskies. Brazil shoots up high and is saved by Muslik.
Best shift of the game for either squad. Physical movement, attacking the net. Breen with another opportunity. He's going to drive. Puck goes off the left pad. Couldn't get a rebound on the Fowler's stick. It was a good back check. Here's a big hit, mammoth hit from the captain, Brazil, as he steps up and ends up giving it to Tristan Frazier. And then the puck stays into the zone, flushing it to the front of the net. Calling for it. Where's the quick shot from Chabrier coming in from the right point? Again, very active pointman, getting involved in the play for both squads. But what a shift from the Black Bears.
And that was sensing blood in the water after UConn was kind of on their heels there in a major way. So 21 seconds is all that remains here in this first period. Shots had been even there for a while, starting to add up for Maine. Another chance from the outside. Jurasevich's shot missed wide. What a period for Maine. The 2 seed with a 2-0 lead after the first.
Boy, did they get a lot of energy from that Breen goal. They did. I mean, it was, again, I wouldn't call it cautious, but I would call it almost a respectful period as they were both teams trying to establish good breakouts, getting the puck in. We didn't see a lot of sustained zone time from either squad until late in the period when Maine had that mega shift right before we ended here. But that Breen goal, boy, did that give them huge energy. Enormous jump, especially after having to go to double overtime.
And feeding off this crowd, which is a ton of Maine fans have made the trip down, trying to watch their team win a first Hockey East title in 21 years. On the other side, Adam, Brian, and Razor will take you through the intermission. What a period for Maine. What a period for Josh Nadeau. 2 points. Breen a goal. Nadeau a goal. 2-0 Maine after 1. Russell waiting and turns. It goes! It's Maine to the final!
That was Nolan Redwick's game winner from double overtime last night, and Ben Barr called the comeback from his team from up 2-0 to needing to take it to extra periods to win. Inspirational. Barr did not have to speak at all. You notice the silence from him. It was all on his players talking it through. At certain points he mentioned they even told him to stop yelling. He mentioned the leadership of this group, pointing out David Brazil, Lyndon Breen, Nolan Renwick, Harrison Scott, and even Albin Boya, his goalie, yelling in Swedish. He knows this team has a leadership. He knows he has a maturity, and he says they always respond when they go down. He doesn't know why. He certainly is happy to see this 2-goal lead, but they always respond to adversity.
Well, we throw the culture word around so much, right? And that's trusting your culture that you've built in those moments.
You also trust that your goalie doesn't say anything bad to you in Swedish if you don't know Swedish.
And if he does, then, you know, you don't know.
If it works, it works, though.
Whatever he's doing, it has worked this year.
He's had some nice puck touches in that period, and the guys talked about the assist, setting it up. So that second goal. This is a guy, you know, he's not your prototypical 6'3", 6'4", 225-pound monster-sized goaltender, but he has a real presence to him, and the way that he moves, and the game has slowed down for him since he became the starter last year in the second half. And talking with Alfie Michaud a bit before the game, the assistant coach for Ben Barr at Maine, just talked about how the guy just works hard, how effective he is, and again, how the game has started to come to him more and more as he's got more time as the guy there. He's really impressive.
He is an unbelievable story of how he arrived at this moment, but also just a great player, as you said.
It's really a great story. We have time, but it was fantastic. No.
So we start this second period, a 2-0 lead for Maine. Same spot they were in yesterday's game, up 2-0. But as George told you, the reason that conversation had to be had was because Northeastern scored 3 unanswered goals. Does UConn have a similar type of comeback in them? Shots were 11-8 in favor of Maine in that opening period. Here is Tristan Fraser, who goes wide with it for UConn. He slipped from the outside, sticked away by Boya. Gustafsson Nyberg from the outside. Little tip play there by Percival, and Boya is in good position.
Yeah, the big Swedish defense at 6'6", 215, and perhaps still growing. Gets himself involved in the play. A nice step up in the neutral zone. Take a look at the goals against average, where Boya is as far as NCAA leaders. 1.76. Fowler, goalie of the year in Hockey East, at 1.64. BC still going to be the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Will be in Manchester, is the closest regional to their home rink. The winner of this game is very likely also a #1 seed. Pairwise coming in today, Maine was 3 and UConn was 6, but a win today for UConn would be enough to jump them. Everybody's so close together. Western Michigan, who's the 5 spot right now, still competing for an NCHC title. Minnesota, who's at the 4, they have not played in a while because they lost in the opening round to Notre Dame out in the Big Ten. Boy, it comes well out of his net, trying to play that puck.
They mishandled it a little bit, though, to begin with. That's why he had to do that.
Squirts to Nolan Renwick, the goal scorer, in double overtime yesterday. He got it from Russell, who's chasing after Jan Faria. There's Gardula, Ethan Gardula, kick save by Boya. Then it comes down for Shahan. And it's whistled down.
Saw some good acceleration from Kai Janvaria coming out of his own zone from behind the net, winding it up. The right shot defenseman out of Bloomfield, Michigan, uses his speed to accelerate. Here it comes middle of the ice. Passes it over and changes, and there's that opportunity off the pad. And again, that's a good play for UConn. You know, they get clean through the neutral zone. They don't allow Maine to stand up there. They push puck in, then they get a solid shot.
Jan Varia, who spent a couple of years with the National Team Development Program, then last year in the USHL with Lincoln. Yeah, that's covered up by Albin Boya.
Jan Varia plays with Trey Scott. Another smaller defenseman, Jan Varia 5'9", Trey Scott 5'10". Both these youngsters, though, putting up solid points this season. Scott with 19, Jan Varia with with 14 playing some strong minutes too.
This is really how, if you were a coach, you'd like to deploy your freshmen, right? You don't always have this luxury.
Protect them enough.
Right, you have this freshman line, but it's the third line for UConn, right? This defense pairing, Janvary and Scott. They don't have to play the most minutes, but they've been very effective when they've played.
And they get confidence because it's the right type of minutes, especially on the power play. They each quarterback one of the power plays.
Masinio from the outside. Boy, I got a piece of it and then sticks it to the corner. This freshman class was ranked 8th by neutral zone coming in this year for UConn. It's one of the places Mike Cavanaugh's done a really good job of recruiting, right? Because you have to go outside the non-traditional areas when you have some of those high-end recruits. Going to go to the Boston schools, going to go to the Blue Bloods, right? So you have to do things a little bit differently. He went into Europe quite a bit early on in his tenure, and now starting to get some of those blue chippers because of the success he's had.
Well, the success that he's had, his personality, he's a wonderful guy, and the new building,
it's great.
It's just got,
it's great.
It doesn't hurt at all, and this is a guy that he's very personable. He's had a ton of experience when he was the assistant and then associate head coach at Boston College, and he knew it was going to be a process. He accepted it. They understood what the building was or wasn't going to be at first when they moved in there, but that helped lay the foundation and again started the culture there, and now they're reaping the rewards, getting more of these top-end players.
Well, Downey has certainly turned into one of them as he plays it in here for Connecticut off his hat trick yesterday in the semifinal to beat Boston University 5-2.
By the way, you got to be careful not to get too many of those guys, because eventually then you get guys that are here for 1 or 2 years, they end up leaving, and your program starts spinning wheels, having a hard time. It's great because you get the name guys and you get recognition, but then your program doesn't seem to have as much success the way of the world it's going now in college hockey. You don't see teams often. Once in a while you get, but with a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds that are there for 1 or 2 years have long-term success.
Certainly in terms of the champions that we've seen, right? That was part of the changing of the guard from the Blue Bloods to some of these schools like a Duluth and like a Quinnipiac, and you could go down the list, winning national championships in the last decade plus.
Speaking of Quinnipiac, they lost today. Cornell beats them. That means University of Michigan out of the NCAA tournament.
Something about Lake Placid. Percival hit his own man on the skate. We talked about it yesterday. The bubble is really small. Well, it just got smaller, right? Because Quinnipiac now is still in position to make the NCAA tournament. They need a little bit of help, but should still be okay. But as you said, Michigan now likely not going to make it. And Penn State hoping for no more upsets across the rest of the conference tournaments. He slips, sets up. Fraser's chance is stopped by Boya. Then Masinio follows 2 good kick saves in a row. Fraser got it from Carabin. That's blocked up high by Ross Mitten. Richard right back on it for the moment. Richard follows. Antonacci was in a good place. Boy is scrambling right now in his net. UConn throwing a lot of chances his way. Can they convert though? Muldowney tried to play it back for Carabin, who knocks it in. Richard is tied up with Antonacci. Good call. Tattle to Masinio on the outside. Carabin gives it right back. Masinio, his shot deflected up high. Long shift here defensively for Maine, but Ross Mitten can finally skate it out. Though this is going to be icing.
Well, that's the kind of shift that UConn is going to look at and say, that's our game getter, guys. You know, moving pucks in. Here, the rim around by Fraser. It's going to go all the way around the pressure. It goes back across, and here's Fraser again, who scored the first goal yesterday. Do the one-timer. Can't get it past Boya. Then Muldowney. He's going to go below the goal line. Some players would. He elects to come back above it and tries to get Boya just cheating off the post, puts it into him though. But a very good sustained offensive zone presence from UConn.
Shot attempts this period, 12-0 UConn. And shots on goal are 5-0. And Maine is going to use the timeout here. I was wondering whether they were going to think about it still early on in the game, but
yeah,
long shift, up by 2. You don't want to
tired bodies from last night too. Remember
here, right?
Yeah, you got to take that into consideration. And maybe Ben Barr's just saying, all right, look, guys, let's just reset now. They've reset. They actually came out. You know, he's telling his team probably UConn. We knew they were going to push. We knew that. We got to respect them. If we don't get smart with the pucks, if we don't get them out, if we don't make sure that we don't allow them that extra opportunity, we're going to have that, you know, we're going to give up the lead again. And I think what he's trying to do is nip it in the bud. And now he's not talking. Now he's just listening and letting the guys talk. You know, but that's important as we take a look at the comparison this season between UConn and Maine. It's to know your team and to know their personality. And, you know, anybody who coaches at any level, and you've talked to these guys and pro coaches and youth level as well, you have a tendency to overcoach. You just do. And it takes that guy who's very confident in the trust in your players to say, I believe in you. You guys go do your thing. This is the reason I called the timeout here. Now you guys take it from here.
Sometimes we hear coaches talk a lot about giving the team back to the players, right? Giving them ownership of their group. Yeah, this Maine team, a 2-0 lead on UConn after a great start to this first period for the Huskies. They win a faceoff, but Gustafson-Nyberg can't hold the zone. Turned over to McCarr here. Taylor McCarr's shot is knocked down by Spets. Then it comes right in front of the net, and Uslick makes a save. Around for Brazil, and Maine pushing back out of the timeout. It's Renwick, it hit off of his stick. And a lane maybe developing for Mike Murtagh. Couldn't get the pass through to Larkin. Well, that ends up not being anything out of that, but an important little shift there for Maine to just put a little bit of pressure back the other way.
A little opportunity, right?
Murtagh got a little hit in once again. And here is Owen Fowler up the wall on the near side. The transfer from UMass Lowell, Owen Fowler, who has 4 points in this tournament. 2 goals yesterday and 2 assists in the quarterfinal win over his former team, UMass Lowell. Old blew a tire behind. Whitcomb got it, and then Gardula trying to hack it out of the air. Couldn't get a stick on it, and it's Fowler back the other way. Shahan with a little bit of ice. And we'll just flip it in behind Alvin Boya. So good early play in this second period for the UConn Huskies. And it's Maine still with the lead of 2-0. And again, right on the red line. Good opportunity here for Heaslip. His shot kind of got guided to the near side. Couldn't get it on goal. Antonacci does get it out for a moment, but Messinio knocks it right back in for Connecticut. Off the skate of Scholey, and it's Heaslip. He turns it in for Antonacci. Percival right behind, hacks at it. Boya makes a save. John Spets, ooh, that might have come out. Instead, it's Ryan Tattle battling in deep with Jurasevich and Thomas Pichette. One of really just 2 freshmen who played major minutes for Maine this year. We talked about how experienced that this group is. And they have a 2-0 lead here in a physical Hockey East final as the Black Bears going for their first title in 21 years. Let's talk a little bit more about Alvin Boya. We talked about his play on the ice this year, but he wasn't even supposed to be at the University of Maine. Last year, they had the goaltenders on their roster. There was an eligibility issue, so they needed a goalie late in the summer, and Ben Barr said he kind of just had to find someone, right? And through a couple of different connections, he eventually gets to Alvin Boya, who comes in, doesn't really play the first half of the season last year. Victor Osman, the starting goalie, was good for this Maine team, and they had a very nice start to the year. But then he gets a start early in December, shuts out their rivals, New Hampshire. Starts playing a little bit more in January. They start flipping, kind of what UConn's done this year, going back and forth. And then all of a sudden February rolls around and Alvin Boyd just wins the job. And he takes Maine to the hockey semifinals, takes him to the NCAA tournament, and now he's done what he's done this year.
And Barb said he made the decision for us,
yep.
right? But the best part of it is that the connection that led to even finding about it is from a distant friend
yep.
of his who saw him on television, a guy that he played youth hockey with back in Minnesota, that he reached out to him. I think it was, he said, 25 plus
yep,
years
yep.
since he had heard from his friend. And his friend ended up playing college hockey at Minnesota. But I mean, the friend had a friend who was in
yep.
Europe, in Sweden, who
they
helped
were sharing
play
about baby food and how to feed, right? And then they started talking about goalies and
6 degrees of hockey separation.
Yep.
Amazing stuff. You never know
where great players can come from. And Alvin Boyd has certainly made an impact at the University of Maine. And his team has a 2-0 lead over UConn here in this Hockey East final. Ryan Tattle plays it around. My favorite one of those was Jerry York said he found out about Alex Newhook, who was with Boston College a couple years ago, from basically where he got his lobster down the Cape. He said, you should go look at this Newhook kid. There you go. Never know where talent can come from. Richard cycling. And it's knocked down well by Brazil. One of these Maine captains along with Lyndon Breen. Zatari trying to come in. And once again, Maine is right there in position. And whistle down on the red line.
What I'm trying to process is why is a Cape fishmonger telling Jerry York to go talk to a guy from Newfoundland, getting his lobsters from up there. Although I'm sure I know there are delicious crustaceans from that area as well. But that's just the way it works. And we talked last night as well about how now, you know, not just connections, but with scouts and stuff, but how like Owen Fowler, he sold himself to players on Maine. He hadn't played in a year because of that broken kneecap and recovery, and then how he went to buddies that he knew that he had played with. They go to the coaching staff, and they said they hadn't even heard him, but then they talk about it, and he ends up there. And you know, we talk about the goaltender Tung, who was recruited via Zoom. I mean, whole wide world, but it's just amazing how different it is in the old days where you just scouted guys. Now it's all different. Connections from everywhere.
Speaking of Fowler's shot, there's a rebound there, and it's finally swiped away. Out for Bodie Nobes, who fires off the wall from behind the net. Nobes, who's really been impactful. There's another one in, and it's stopped by Muslik. He's someone who really didn't play the first half of this season, but has come on much more recently. Ben Barr pointed it out and said he's just someone I've had to give more ice time to.
Yeah, because he's just earned it along with Luke Antonacci. Both of those players, Bodie Nobes in the second overtime was excellent, just like Antonacci last night. 6 shots on goal total in the game. You mentioned hasn't, and now he's in his tonight is his 39th career game. He looked very composed last night.
Another shot from the outside, and Fraser knocks it back to center. Fraser hustling after it, does get to that puck first, and throws it looking for Percival. Fraser got hit up high as he kind of got spun down there awkwardly. Still going for the puck, but it's Holtz who starts it out. So UConn had all those opportunities early, first 5 minutes or so, ever since that timeout, which we know was about the icing situation, but it feels like it's kind of reset these Blackberries.
It has. It absolutely has. I was just thinking the same thing, whereas, you know, UConn had to really like what they got going early on, but then Maine has been able to bring it back to a game that is not fancy, and it's playing just fine for them. Like, nice little play right there. Simple play, get it up, now through the neutral zone.
Brazil goes wide, chance hacked at from the outside is not there. That's Frechette. Frechette who's trying to get it on goal. Thomas Frechette, the freshman, playing his 18th game of the year for Maine. Here is Scott. Yeah, that's not bad.
Great stick by Komarov.
Tattle leaves it behind. Muldowney's chance sticked away. We have not called this top line all that much for UConn. They've had a couple chances here and there, but Maine's done a pretty good job against them today. That's a centering try. Friel is right there. Tyler Muslik deep in his net makes the stop. Then another one knocked down up high by Richard. And he hacks at it to get it away from Nobes again. .8:40 remaining in this second period. Friel knocked off and then bumped down. Deep pass for Tattle, not there. That's one of those plays it felt like was there quite a bit last night for UConn. It has not been so far today. Then Janvaria couldn't quite get it out.
Well, now Maine is controlling neutral zone. They're controlling the blue line, their deep blue line. They're not allowing UConn to get going on that forecheck. They really, like right there, we've seen 3 times now in a matter of about a minute and a half, 2 minutes or so. Great stick plays by Maine defenders. They get the puck out, they try and move it like right there that Frank Jurasevich just did.
They're a confident bunch right now, and Muslik has to make a save on Makar, and then finally covers up. How well are these Maine Black Bears playing right now? They're looking to win this championship for the first time in more than 2 decades. They have a 2-0 lead.
Joey Muldowney, second in the nation behind Ryan Leonard of Boston College, 27 goals. He had 3 last night. He had 4 earlier this year, as we already mentioned, against Maine. You just talked about not calling their name an awful lot. Muldowney, Richard, and in this game, Ryan Tattle, who has gone back up to the line. You're right. Last night we were calling it all the time. They have 4 shots as a line in this game. You know who's got all 4? Muldowney. 2 per period. Richard was a wizard with his stick in the passing last night. He hasn't had the puck on his stick that much tonight at all, so you've got to give a lot of credit to Maine for focusing and somewhat eliminating that line so far, but they are so dangerous. It's got that feeling. If these guys get one, if UConn gets one and they get those legs back, watch out.
We showed you where Joey Muldowney is. How about Richard, too, with his 4 assists yesterday? He's now coming in today 4th nationally in points per game. Just incredible years all around. So many different outstanding players in this year that we've talked so much about in Hockey East, which will be sending 6 teams to the NCAA tournament this season. Fraser in behind. He got pinned into the back wall. Makar tied up with Heisler. With 7 minutes to go here in this second period. Still Maine with that 2-0 lead. The goals in the first period from Lyndon Breen, from Josh Nadeau, and then Nadeau getting one himself on the power play, with Alvin Boya getting the assist. Plays knocked down by Tattle, and it's out for Joey Muldowney, who uses his speed.
Good close.
There's your play right there.
Yep.
Richard does get it back. Gustafson Nyberg waits. Tried to get a pass down for Tattle. And it's Owen Fowler who takes it off the near wall. Brandon Holmes, Hockey East 3rd team All-Star this year. It was the runner-up for the best defensive defenseman award, which went to Eamon Powell. Richard couldn't get it across as Breen was in the way. Here comes Breen again. It's a 3-on-1. Breen shoots, and a save by Muslik. Kind of developed out of nowhere there. Komarov taken away by Whitcomb, but then got knocked down. That's a big body in Whitcomb at 6'4", getting knocked to the ice because of good positioning by Maine, and then it's whistled down for a hand pass.
Good opportunity for Maine. You mentioned it kind of came out of nowhere seemingly. The puck comes the right side, and Breen is going to pick it up. Again, a lefty coming down the right side. Pushed up the wall by Fowler. Here comes Breen. He's going to bring it in just a little more and tries, instead of going low like he did the first time, 5-hole, he tries to roof it upstairs. Doesn't able to get it by. Here's this play by Jurasevich. Stick to puck beautifully. Moldani Minton comes back as a forward with good back check. You've seen Jurasevich and Holt out there an awful lot against that top line. They've done a beautiful job so far.
Jurasevich, who played over 32 minutes in yesterday's game. Holt, who was over 30 in that double overtime semifinal victory over Northeastern. Sholey got knocked down by Whitcomb, and off the wall, couldn't connect with Gardula, and it's icing. They've tried that play a couple different times, just haven't quite been able to connect on
the stretch you're talking about. Yeah, well, they did a good job of it yesterday.
Yes, they did.
I mean, look, they love getting it up quickly. Keep repeating the same thing, but they want to get their legs going. They want to get the forecheck going. They want to get back to that shift that we saw 10 minutes ago or so. That's the kind of thing. They want to tenderize the opponent as much as possible with pace and with intensity and completeness, and getting all four lines involved.
Scott around for Brazil. And this Friel trying to dig it out on the backhand.
They haven't gotten to their pace in this game, and you got to give a lot of credit to Maine.
And that's what they've done all year. That's what they've done for 2 years when they've had so much success. Back in the NCAA tournament last year, over 20 wins once again last year. Now back in a Hockey East final this year for the first time since 2012. And now trying to win the title for the first time since 2004. Chabrier picks it up in behind. Holt off the wall for Scott, and Hugh Larkin pins him in. And that's whistled down again for a hand pass.
Brandon Chabrier is in the play offensively, below the goal line, I think, more than any other defenseman from Maine. Right now, Maine's up 2-0. 4:10 remaining here in the second. We'll be back.
Folks, download the NESN 360 app and stream live Red Sox and Bruins games, including home games in 4K, highlights, and more. Log into the app with your direct account or authenticate with your TV provider to start streaming now.
Bruins play tomorrow night in San Jose against...
Long road trip here.
It is a long road trip. The Sharks and Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith, 2 Hockey East guys. Going to see if Razor can stay awake for a 10:30 start.
And maybe Cam Lund, who just signed with the Sharks today.
Maybe Cam Lund as well. That would be interesting if he's out there already for that one.
Well, speaking of, you look at the last 2 MVPs of this Hockey East tournament. You mentioned Will Smith, the year he's had with San Jose, and then Lane Hudson having himself quite a year with Montreal.
Yeah. Montreal making a serious push for the last playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Who saw that coming?
Here's Taylor McCarr coming, and he missed wide. Taylor McCarr, of course, his brother Cale, who was such a great player for UMass, helping build up that program for Greg Carvel. And then they eventually go on to win the national championship in 2021.
Yeah, and Taylor McCarr, after the few years at UMass, Ben Bart knew him there well, and he's known the family, said, for 8 to 9 years. Everything that this kid has had, he's earned himself. Yes, he's obviously got a famous brother, but he's a beautiful skater too. Plays forward compared to his brother, though, who plays deep. So at UMass in 3 years, 15 goals, 7 assists, for a total of 22 points. This year, 28 points alone this season at Maine. So he's had a real kind of breakthrough season. Big kid, skates well. Again, last night, didn't notice him as much. I thought he was almost a little tentative at times. Remember, he had the first opportunity in this game. He had his legs going right from the opening faceoff in this one.
It has really been a good fit for him at the University of Maine this year. Here's a chance for Scott trying to get to that puck. And it was Trey Scott who got there first for UConn. Now a roller. And Brazil tries to get it. Jamboree blocked the shot. And the foul! It goes! It's Harrison Scott!
Brazil tries to whack this one, doesn't get much of it, but then the puck is in the middle of the ice, and Harrison Scott, another player who has absolutely relished the culture of Ben Barr and the University of Maine, comes in and pops in his 18th goal of the season. Good forecheck, puck gets put to the front. There's Brazil, he tries to pop it there, and he doesn't get it. I think it actually ends up hitting the UConn player's skate. And then, it's off the stick of Scott in the middle of the ice there, and then boom, Harrison Scott picks it up, swats it in. So Harrison Scott gets it after Trey Scott hits it through the 5-hole. Good hand-eye coordination. This place having fun.
Harrison Scott, who played his first 2 years at Bentley. He's another guy you talk about jumps. 26 points in his 2 years at Bentley. 27 points last year as a junior at Maine, and now 35 this year for the Black Bears. And they have a 3-0 lead with 3 minutes to go in the second period of this Hockey East final. And that's that third goal they didn't get yesterday before Northeastern had that comeback.
Right. And their coach, Ben Barr, talked about, why does it have to happen? Why do we take the foot off? Why do we not keep going and do the things? And admitted frustration, but yet obviously proud with how his team responded. That was not what you call a thing of beauty goal, but that's what Maine is doing in this game.
Well, Downey back the other way, and he missed wide. Well, it's a puck that sits loose, right?
It's a battle.
And you take advantage of it.
Yeah, well, you do the right things, right? You go to the net, you support the play for Brazil, then you go to the net with Scott. You have another body in front of the net, too.
There is Ryan Tattle coming down the wall with Antonacci in good position to knock him off. Well, Downey trying to create something. Trey Scott over for John Spetz. Spence coming in, still manages to get it back in, fluttering towards the net, it's loose in a dangerous area. Then we're short, throws it back in, the save by Boya. That was something to nothing to a little bit of something there. With 1:35 to go here in this second period, a 3-0 lead for Maine. Renwick just out of the zone.
Yeah. The puck was in, it was out. The linesman had delayed. Then he waited when he saw that Maine touched up. But then when Renwick gets back in, he actually brought the puck out. Maine has done a nice job on little details in this game. We just saw, like, for instance, Charlie Russell was down below to our left there, and instead of pulling up and forcing a cross-ice pass away, he just goes back down the wall just a little bit. And it's those little things, and if you put them all together to the detail of the game, it adds up to big. It adds up to a lot of good stuff for Maine.
And that's what they've done all year. It's what they've done since Ben Barr got there 4 years ago. And boy, has he ever reawakened a sleeping giant. Jan Varia from the outside got knocked out in the final minute of the second period.
Nadeau going off, took that one in the foot.
Arabin knocked it down. Ross Mitten, who came in as a transfer from Colgate, he goes wide against Gustafsson Nyberg. Mitten, who missed the last month of the season before this Hockey East tournament, and that came all the way through. And it's Lyndon Breen who has Holt, fanned on it. seconds of the period. And it's Maine with a 3-0 lead. 20 minutes away from a Hockey East title.
When you think about how this period could have gone in another direction early on when UConn finally established UConn hockey, the identity, the way, the repeat process of forecheck, etc. They, two good shifts, one in particular is great, but then the timeout, the one opportunity by Maine after that, kind of resetting things. It definitely changed the tenor of that period. That timeout could be huge.
It was huge. I'm sure the guys will talk about that on the other side of the intermission coverage. A 3-0 lead for Maine over UConn. They're that close to their first title since 2004. Can they get there? Find out with us. Our coverage of this Hockey East Championship weekend continues here on NESN Plus. Well, Lyndon Breen, the captain of this Maine Black Bears team, with a crucial goal early in this game. His 7th of the year gave Maine the early lead. And George has more on the Maine captain.
Eric, Lyndon Breen is more than just a captain for this team, but as Ben Barr put him, one of the toughest kids he knows. Now, he inherited him from Red Gendron's staff, who was the head coach right before Ben Barr took over. But talking about Lyndon Breen, he mentioned how he overcame 2 surgeries in the last year, and he doubted if he'd ever be able to play hockey again. But when he returned to the Black Bears in late February, his first game back was against UConn, and he credited the high-intensity practices that Maine has for him being able to get right back into the game. And what Ben Barr also points out about Lyndon, he always finds a way to positively impact the game. His impact tonight, the potential game winner for their first Hockey East tournament title in over 20 years.
Not only a goal, 3 shots on goal in this game as well. Presence has been very recognizable, and just, you know, having one of your captains in the lineup like that, and again, the last player to play for Red Gendron, and to be around, and the value, you know, to know what it was like to under Coach Red, and then here with Ben, and leading this team along with David Brazil, and such an impactful player, important player for this school.
All the off the ice stuff that you and George talk about, but on the ice, he was also such a key contributor, right? Same conversation we've had with so many of these guys. It's been a little bit of a different year, right? He was a 30-point guy last year, 3rd on the team. This year was playing really well, right? He had 7 points in his final 3 games before he got hurt. Then took him a little while to get going, but now all of a sudden in these Hockey East playoffs, goal in the quarterfinal, an assist and 8 shots yesterday in the semis. And now today, that crucial goal that gave Maine the early 1-0 lead in the first period, a lead that they've held since then. And now here in the 3rd with a chance to put away a Hockey East title. Played in on the backhand by Muldowney, and that is whistled down.
Yeah, did not reach the red line. And so it's going to be icing. And Maine will select the side. Muldowney, we mentioned, had all shots for that line. Late in the 2nd period, he now has 5 shots on goal overall in the game. But Richard has picked up 1 as well, so the line has 6.
UConn digs out face-off. When face-off's been relatively even in this game, that was a spot that Maine was really in control of in yesterday's semifinal against Northeastern, like we talked about. There is Tristan Fraser, had a goal yesterday for Connecticut. Let's take the UConn side of this. Obviously, we know what the score is. We know what they have to do at this point. Where do they start here as they try to build back?
They start by getting pucks in and getting numbers, but here's the 2nd icing of the period already, Eric, and we're 59 seconds in. This is not what you want. You want connectivity. You want numbers coming up ice. You want forechecker 1, F1, and get support from F2, so get the puck back. They haven't had nearly enough of that tonight.
After they made such a statement yesterday in their victory over Boston University, 5-2 the final score.
And again, just right there, the simple play is the puck comes back to Nobes. He turns, he gets it back in. UConn can't get it through the neutral zone. Can't get their legs going.
Here is Renwick, stops along the wall and plays it out for Nobes. Turns his shot looking for deflection with McCarr there in the area. And it's Russell who digs it out in the corner. Shots for the game 17-16 in favor of UConn. The attempts 38-35 in favor of Maine. Much lower
a little different
game than we had yesterday. Gardula wide. Gardula! Boy, I got a piece of it. It was behind him, but he did enough. Ethan Gardula, one of the freshmen for Connecticut, firing it away. Now a rolling puck. Pichette can't get to it. And Ethan Whitcomb, freshman line, trying to develop something in the midst of a change. Gardula and Sitar. Gardula centers up, nobody there. Noster Komarov skates it out for Maine. Kind of feels like a good example of what we've had in this game, right? UConn has a little bit of time, has the one shot, and then can't really get that second.
No,
it's kind of out the other way.
Yeah.
Nothing sustained.
Nothing sustained. And you know, Sitar behind the net.
Turned over, Josh Nadeau up high. That Friel, Nadeau, and Scott group have had themselves a weekend. And this is icing.
Yeah, icing will be called here. You go back to the one best chance they had. It was off the stick of the youngster Gardula, who it's going to be his fourth shot on goal of the game. As the puck doesn't get through the neutral zone, it does clean now for UConn. Gardula outside the dot though gets a good shot off and catches the shoulder, glove shoulder,
first.
yeah,
Wow.
and then off of Boya, and then it goes wide. Here's the Nadeau chance that was deflected and puck went out of play. But after Gardula got it, and then Sitar was behind the net, and icing called again here. 4 icings in the first couple of minutes of this period, but Sitar then gets it and throws it to the front of the net, thinking that somebody will be there. I don't know if you caught it then, but there was a good presence. I don't remember from Maine who was there, who stopped it, brought it out, and then the boards were being slammed to the sticks of the Maine bench because they appreciated that their team recovered well. They were in the right spot, and then they made the right play, getting it out into the zone.
Sheahan turns and is saved by Boya.
Good face-off win. This time here, Heaslip gets it. Shot comes across, but I gotta like this save by Boya. His positioning good here. Puck ends up hitting him. No chance of a rebound whatsoever. Sheahan's gonna get it when he's gonna come across. It's gonna be on his forehand. Puts it right into the logo, but Boya again following it all the way in.
Alvin Boya with 19 saves today.
Lyndon Breen has to go off here. I think his helmet, yeah. They need a quick fix, so the official said you got to change.
So Nolan Renwick comes out. Another win by UConn. Percival pushes it to an open area for Carabin. And now Sheahan turns the follow. It goes! It's Heaslip! And UConn has life!
Heaslip now has won 8 of his 10 faceoffs. And remember, Renwick's got to come on the ice, but as you said, it was 2 face-off losses in a row. The puck is slapped down the ice. It's thrown to the front of the net with a good backhand pass from Sheahan. And then Heaslip, who is the centerman, stays above the pile. Waits. Get away from the defender. He doesn't get too close. Doesn't get too close down there to Nobes, and he ends up putting the puck into the net. What a huge goal. A ton of time left in this one, Eric, for UConn, who got to their game right there.
Tabor Heaslip had 14 points in his first 2 seasons as a member of the UConn Huskies. He has 18 points now this season, and he makes it a 3-1 game here early in the third period. You know, you mentioned that face-off point too. And face-offs sometimes can, you know, maybe we put too much emphasis on them. Sometimes maybe we don't at times.
Don't not tell that to Brian Boyle.
Well, right.
that.
But considering what Maine did yesterday on the face-off, that's a pretty impressive number for Heaslip. And then to do it there and lead to the goal.
And you win 2 in a row. And now here's another one.
They're doing it in the offensive zone. They're giving themselves opportunities. Ryan Tattle trying to get it in behind with Muldowney and this top UConn line. Can they get going here now all of a sudden with a little bit of life on the side of the Huskies? That shot from the outside missed wide. Friel, nice touch pass for Scott. Harrison Scott shoots up high and it's deflected out of play.
Yeah, nice play by Spets. One of the captains or the assistant captain from New Jersey with a really good play. Let's go back to another face-off win. There's a quick shot. Boya follows it all the way in. Muldowney, I beg your pardon, Richard with the shot there. And now they quick back up again. But Maine then gets the puck. Gets out and then down the ice. There's the Scott shot. He waited a little time. I think he was waiting to see if Spets, when he was going to attack him, tries to get the shot by him. But strong defense and makes a nice play.
Off the wall and Tristan Fraser pushing the play forward.
I think we might start seeing a little bit more of that top line for UConn. I know Mike Cavanaugh likes to roll 4. Maybe give them a little bit more. See if you can, a little more ice time maybe helps them get going even more.
He's got a different combination out there right now at the moment. Stray Scott turns it back in. Yeah, it looks like at least for right now they have Sitar out there on this would-be freshman line with Whitcomb and Gardula. Still a freshman line, just a different freshman line that we're used to seeing.
Usually it's Shahan out there.
Shahan, who had an assist on the goal by Heaslip. And now here comes Sully Sholey against Whitcomb. Boy, he did a good job to get that pass all the way through with pressure from the bigger Whitcomb. Bichette gets it across for Chabrier, trying to knock it down. You've talked about his willingness to play in deep as a defenseman. Brazil turns, and that missed wide. Chabrier once more. This is one of those shifts that Maine tends to respond with when they've needed it over the course of this Hockey East playoff tournament. Russell crunched by Gustafsson Nyberg. Spets can't get it out. It's McCarr, but kind of lost the handle on it with the stick down on the ice. Brandon Holtz starts for Russell. Russell coming down the wall. And Percival is back there for UConn, but it's Thomas Friel who comes away for Maine. Russell and Spets in behind, and here is Percival. Maine still looking for their first shot on goal here in this third period. Icing waved off. Nadeau and Janvaria back there. And here goes Ryan Tattle. Tattle sets up the trailer. Janvaria's shot is stopped by Boya.
Lost his footing right as he released the shot. Perhaps didn't get as much on as he would like, but a real nice play by Tattle.
Now he's without a stick as well, so he goes to the bench. With under 13 minutes to go here in the third period, a 3-1 lead for Maine. Breen comes to center. Knocked out Fraser and Murtagh up there. So here it's Murtagh, Fraser, and Hugh Larkin, the three forwards for UConn at the moment. Around for Larkin, who plays it back in for Murtagh. Tanachi meets him. And Lyndon Breen starts to play it forward. You know, something you mentioned earlier, how much that fourth line will we see from Maine today? We've definitely seen it continuing even here in the third period, up 3-1. Coming off the double overtime game last night.
I feel like we've seen it almost as much as UConn.
Well, they've pretty much rolled it consistently, even all the way to this point in the third period. More on that in a moment.
Take a look at the Janvier opportunity, Eric, about 2-3 minutes ago. Real nice pull-up move. Tattle's going to get away from Nobes. And you see, right as he releases it, does he catch a rut? Something happens, and he goes forward. He still gets a good shot up, but right there, it's not enough. And he loses the ability to control where he wants it to go. I think he just
They do not give up many shots at all.
Major penalty around the 15-minute mark.
And they're going to review for a major penalty. This is back almost 4 minutes ago that they're going to look at this and see. Just to finish the point, Maine gave up 40 shots to UConn in that game. Nothing like that here today.
No, I mean, completely. The tenor of this game, though, has been different the whole time. I want to get a look at this myself to see which play they're going back to almost 4 minutes ago.
So it might take a minute even to wind the tape back far enough for the officials to figure out that we didn't really have a whistle through that whole sequence. No. So that's why they're going all the way back. We believe this is a challenge. You remember the rule is different in college hockey than the NHL. If you challenge and lose, it's just a timeout. Right. It's not a penalty because of the availability of no iPads on the bench, no infrastructure the way there obviously is.
It has to be a major, obviously.
Right, you have to look for a major here.
We can't offer anything here. I have no idea what they're looking for.
No major penalty. Connecticut loses their timeout.
So it was a Connecticut challenge. They lose their timeout, and as you heard, no major penalty. We'll try to figure out exactly what they were looking for in that sequence, but the moral of the story is, on we go.
Yeah, well, they get a little more rest, I guess, there. But now you have to say, okay, wait, if they need the timeout later in the game, it's gone.
Right, so if that becomes a factor here, neither team has their timeout the rest of this game. Remember, Maine used theirs earlier and used theirs very effectively earlier. Chabrier was the one who started out for Maine. Got tied up with the linesman right along the blue line. And Messinio plays the backhand, but it's Brazil right there for the Black Bears. Chance for McCarr. He scores! Taylor McCarr makes it 4-1 Maine.
We talked earlier how the kid from Calgary was quiet yesterday. Not so much today. Gets his 17th goal of the season. And the kid that can fly uses the legs in the shot here. He's going to pick the puck off him here. You want to talk about a big change again. You go for a timeout for a potential major, or at least an attempt to find it. Nothing happens there. And then Maine responds with a mega goal by McCarr.
First shot on goal of this third period for Maine. And it's Taylor McCarr who finds its way in, his 17th goal of the season. And the Maine Black Bears have a 4-1 lead on UConn with half the third period gone here in this Hockey East final. Well, did that ever feel like? And there's a turning shot to the follow-up by Scott. Another save made by Muslik. He tries to wrap around, and Muslik holding his post. What a follow-up shift.
Yeah, Harrison Scott feeling it, wanting to really put a dagger into this one. He was hungry for that one, going to the backhand, trying to stuff it in. But Maine sensing that goal by McCarr puts things back in their favor. Taylor McCarr with the defenseman going down. He roofs it over the shoulder. 4-1 Maine.
Take a look at the pairwise rankings here, and these Maine Black Bears with a win today basically secure their spot as a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. So all that's on the line here, but that also is a carrot out there for these Black Bears.
Listen, math scares me no matter what. Okay, algorithms, I can't figure any of that stuff out, but I don't know how they don't get a #1 seed if they win this one right here. And we're going to assume that Boston College, we know, is going to get the #1 overall. We'll end up in Manchester in that region. And then the other East region is Allentown, PA. So you'd think that they end up, they being the Black Bears, in Allentown. I checked from Orono to Allentown. 8 hours and 8 minutes driving. Now that's if you're driving the speed limit. No, you could probably make a little faster than that. Maine, you kidding me? Black Bear fans, they will head out.
Look at this crowd tonight, right?
An 8-hour trip is nothing. Nothing for them.
Well, they are here in force in a major way. And it feels like, there were a lot here yesterday, but it feels like even more today after that double overtime win. Everybody said, we're not working on Friday, let's go. And they've come down. 17,605 are in attendance tonight, and a lot of them are wearing Maine blue.
No question about it. And they had the red carpet before, and it was
what a scene that was.
Predominantly Maine.
Feels like he scored that quite a bit this season, and it just missed here. And now it's Fowler, takes it back the other way, floats it right in for Muslik.
It's a great time to be a UConn sports fan as well. Yeah. Your hockey team is fantastic. Your basketball team, pretty darn good as well.
Teams?
Yeah, teams, plural, thank you. Yes, I know that men's playing at 9, I think right now.
Probably right
started
now,
about 9:20, 9:25 tonight. So you got people that got multiple screens going right now watching their Huskies.
Speaking of UConn basketball, George has more.
Yeah, guys, there was a special guest in the locker room at UConn last night. Gino Auriemma, the legendary women's basketball team at Connecticut, was in the locker room and had words of encouragement. Him and Mike Cavanaugh are longtime friends since Cav took the job in Stores. And Gino's words were simple. He's excited for what this team is capable of, and he sees their potential of winning it all.
He's a huge hockey fan. He's at UConn games all the time. He was there for the quarterfinals last Saturday, and a huge supporter of Mike Cavanaugh and everything this UConn hockey program has done. Here is Sitar back the other way. Oh, that finds its way in. It got by Boya, and it's 4-2.
UConn enters, but up here, I wonder if this is offside. there may be an offside on this one. I saw it from up here. Sitar's going to end up getting the shot going over. Let's see. Puck control here. It's not over the blue line yet. Back it up a little bit.
Remember, Maine does not have their timeout.
You're right,
so if
but
they
they're
were
going
to
to have to
challenge
challenge
and lose, it would be a penalty.
But I thought it was offside from up here, and we are told they are going to
Maine
challenge.
is challenging the goal for a potential offside.
Yeah, the puck just hadn't cleared the blue line, Eric. It just hadn't, and you could tell. You saw the two players on the right side were just across the line. I think this one's going to come back.
Certainly feels like worth a look, even though the magnitude it would be a potential penalty here.
Well, here you can't tell. I mean, you assume that the puck is still in the blue, but it's hard to see because the backhand of Sitar right there covers it, but the right skate of Muldowney's already over the line. The other look I thought was clear.
Important to note here, the call on the ice was that this was clean. Let's see from the opposite side.
Yeah. Go back a teeny bit. I think
Richard
the right skate.
looks in.
After video replay, it was determined that the play is offsides.
Yep.
Yeah, you had two players that were across the line. Sitar had to corral the puck, just that extra stride, and then two players, Muldowney and Richard, over the line.
Good work by the Maine ops team all around there. Ben Barr putting his trust in him to challenge that.
So if you're UConn, you got to take the positive out of it. You say, hey, listen, we just took a shot on Boya. It hits his arm and it bounces over him. Keep feeding off it. Still a lot of time.
So back to a 4-1 game with 8:42 remaining in this Hockey East final. After that goal taken off the board. Sheehan gonna dig it out here for UConn. Jurasevich knocked it down just for a moment though. And now Maine right back to their game control here with 8 minutes to go. Gardula flips it forward in for Boya. I mean, you said it. You want to take the positive from that, but it also, in that spot, you feel like you just got within two. It's a tough hill to climb once again for UConn.
No question. It's a major bummer. It's a major buzzkill, partner. But, you know, find the positive if you can. You keep going. Just say, listen, we got another one by him. Okay, it doesn't count. Let's see if we can do it again here.
From the outside, Karabin gobbled up by Albin Boya. 7:20 remaining in this third period. The Maine Black Bears with a 4-1 lead over UConn. (4-1) lead for Maine over UConn with 7:20 to go in the third period. That goal taken off the board. And Maine retains their 3-goal lead here in the third, trying to win their first Hockey East title since 2004. It's amazing thinking back on that time. Maine Black Bears, the dominant program in this sport through the 1990s and even in the early 2000s. And you never know how quickly all that success that they have, it might go away for this long. And boy, Ben Barr, who's talked about it, he said, this
going up there to play, and I've only done games up there, didn't never play there. It is a special place, and you see what they've got in stores now, and UConn has, how amazing that is, what it's done for the program. They're doing a $50 million, or they're almost done with a $50 million reno there that doesn't touch the rink and the stands that hang over.
Everything that you and I and the folks see on TV, right? It's all the other stuff.
It's the internal stuff where, what was it Ben Barr was saying the other day, that, you know, we had a hard time walking two people crossing in the hallways towards the locker room, and now, you know, Now you got spacious areas and you can walk, and they've got a lot of great stuff there, and that's going to do even more for the program too, because like it or not, we love history. We're old guys now, not you. I'll speak for me.
Yeah.
but you know,
I'm old in here.
Old in heart. You're right. But you know what? The young generation, they like the bells and whistles. Yeah. They need the new stuff, and you have to remodel things eventually. And I think it's going to be huge for the Maine program what they have going at the Alpha.
Jan Maria, a little tip play. It was Tattle who got a piece of it. Then Muldowney coming in just missed. So UConn trying to push back here. Can they find their way down 4-1 with 7 minutes to go? You know, the other piece that you just can't recreate is, and you look around this building right now, is it truly feels like, and it truly is, the entire state of Maine behind this program.
Oh, yeah.
I think you know it, but sometimes you have to actually go there and see it and experience it to really understand the connection. And Ben Barr's talked a lot about that, the buy-in, the welcoming that he has felt ever since getting the job 4 years ago. And it is a huge part of the success that Maine has had and is building now the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Off a face-off win, Richard is blocked by Russell. Well, UConn's won a lot of offensive zone face-offs. Can they take advantage of it? But Carr can't get it out. Richard trying to get it to Tattle. His arm is offside. And McCarr has space. McCarr again is stopped by Music.
There's that all-world speed. We've seen it a couple of times, but that was really a prime example of it.
And really from that first stride.
Yep.
Brandon Holt takes it back the other way. And it's in deep for Trey Scott with 6:10 remaining here in the third period. He slipped after it, took a hard hit into the boards, tied up with Holt. Jan Varia has been out there a lot for Scott, that missed wide. He slipped for Percival. Somebody trying to dig it out. He slipped, who scored UConn's goal today to make it 3-1 at the time before McCarr got the lead back to 3. And not out. Percival plays it behind, chance, and they score! It's Heaslip again!
UConn's, they're still pushing, and they score again going upstairs on Boya. What a third period. Tabor Heaslip has had, the kid out of Frisco, Texas. Gets his 7th goal. Puck is kept in, bounces away. Jurasevich doesn't get it. He puts it through the middle of the ice. It's a dangerous play, and then there is the shot after the gorgeous pass from Percival going behind him, the backhand pass, and Heaslip sizzles it upstairs past Boya. But Jurasevich maybe didn't get as much on it than he wanted, but he definitely didn't elevate it as high as he needed to. And in the middle of the ice, real dangerous area.
Tabor Heaslip, goals number 6 and 7 this year. And with 5:18 to go, it's a 4-2 game. When do you think about Music here down by 2?
I'm always a believer in pulling him a little bit early. 3.5, maybe.
Whitcomb taken off by Josh Nadeau.
1 goal, 2 minutes, minute 45 or so.
Messinio is stopped by Boya. Well, we shall see. Under 5 minutes left. Maine holding a 4-2 lead, trying to win themselves their first Hockey East title in 21 years. Can they hold on? UConn on the comeback trail. Find out what happens with us on the other side.
University of Maine wins the longest game in Hockey East history. Ben Murphy gets the winner.
The last time these Maine Black Bears won the Hockey East Championship, what is still 21 years later, the longest game in Hockey East tournament history. Jimmy Howard, the MVP, stopped 63 of 64 shots in that triple overtime championship win over UMass. That is also the last time a non-Massachusetts school won this Hockey East Championship. That is guaranteed to happen. Which one is decided in this final 5 minutes? Renwick picks it up on a backhand, saved by Muslik. Good play by Renwick right to the net.
Really good play there. Muslik hasn't had to face a lot this period, but he comes out, makes a nice save coming off the post. Renwick is going to attack, as he should, coming in here, and right here he's going to seal the wall. And then right here, after the blown tire by Tattle down, and all of a sudden Renwick's going to drive there. He wanted to get a little more elevation, I think, tried to tuck it in. I like Renwick's game. I like how, you know, it's not fancy. It's solid game, though. Big kid. Likes the wall play, and then regularly drives to the front.
Does what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He did it yesterday, right? Went down to a knee to get that tip and the game-winning goal.
Still a great play. It makes you think that it was a set play, but no indication by post-game interviews that it was. But the way Renwick got crouched down, really established good positioning. He sealed as much as he could right next to the post. If it was a set play, as icing is called here against UConn, nobody was giving up. You know, Russell would have to admit that he shot it wide intentionally off of his line mate's leg.
Whatever it is, it's 4:30 away from living in Maine lore, helping to get them back on top of this conference that they dominated for so long in the 1990s and early 2000s. We started talking about the Muslik conversation really ever since we came back. Puck spin in that end of the ice. UConn's on it here. Good play by Ross Mitten, reaching for Percival, the intended target. Now it's Fowler back on it. Can't get it out at first, but then follows up the play.
Yeah, 4 minutes left. They got to think in the next 30 seconds or so, UConn will consider pulling Muslik if they have possession and they can get in the offensive zone.
Good play on the blue line, though, there, to not let UConn get in. Gardula plays it around, but Holt answers. Karabin holds it in. Pass for Sitar. Turns a shot, saved by Boya. Good positioning save there by Alvin Boya. .327 to go in the third period. And Muslik still in his net for now. Turned over to Josh Nadeau. He rips a shot. It's blocked by Messinio.
Another icing coming up now, UConn.
So now you can't do it here.
Yeah, and you get change, and you get no timeout. And you like to have, I appreciate, the stretch play, but you got to make sure you're connecting there. No indication from the bench. They weren't looking over at Muslik at all, keeping an eye on that. But again, I got to imagine, you win the faceoff, start getting it up the ice. 3 minutes. Got to get that extra attacker.
Important face-off off the icing, won by Maine.
UConn goal scored by number 23,
Taylor McCarr with 2 Huskies. Good job by McCarr, though. Just stays on it that whole way. Heck of an effort. Finally out to center for now, but still in Maine's possession.
UConn's Eastland scoring from Percival at 14:41.
Here he comes. I think they're signaling towards him. Yep, they want him to get off the ice. There goes Muslik.
Empty net for UConn. Down by 2 in the Hockey East final. With 2:35 to go here in the third. Lyndon Breen plays it to center. It got knocked down. And Bodie Nobes can't get it out. Fowler turns it. It's knocked down at the line, but it came out.
Barely outside. You know, if you're UConn now, you got to have two guys on the puck at all times. You have to. You've got to get the extra body, the extra stick in there. You can't allow for Maine, who's going to be desperate as all heck here, to just have an opportunity to cleanly clear the puck. Get the extra body on immediately. Attack.
Just as a reminder, neither team has their timeout. Scott and Tattle for this crucial face-off. Sent towards the empty net. And icing.
Now, if you're Maine, you don't want to. There's two schools of thought. I think the analytics say it's okay to keep icing. And I know you're up two. I get that, especially different than one.
Right.
But you got to be careful there. You got to be careful. You know, you're playing with fire. Let's not forget how many face-offs in the O-zone UConn has won this period. So Maine wants to be smart.
They win it there.
Good play.
Just a good effort by a couple of different guys on that far wall. But it's Muldowney who comes back with it, centers one up, and this goes all the way down.
Oh, they're calling icing here. Wasn't sure if it had touched the UConn player when he dove. And I think Barnes saying, hey, there was an attempt to play the puck, and he was there, and saying that it wasn't icing, but linesmen disagreed, and they line up to the glove side of Boya.
Scott's been out there for most of these key Maine face-offs down the stretch.
Nice win again.
Done a really good job down the stretch. Gustafson Nyberg stopped it with his foot. Nobes out of play.
Harrison Scott really showing his importance to this team. Player that, as you mentioned, played his first 2 years at Bentley and coming in, who has thrived in the culture in Orono. Doing the little things that it needs to be done. In this game, 13 for 20 in the face-off circle after that last win.
He won 2/3 of his draws in the first 2 games of these hockey playoffs, and continuing that here today. Knocked down by Richard with 1:43 to go. Pass for Tattle was too far, and Brazil comes away with it for Maine just for a moment, though. He slip digs it out, centers one up, it's loose in front for a moment, and then swiped away by Nolan Renwick. Chance on a backhand towards the net, it's in!
Makar again. Taylor Makar. Second goal of the game. A nice composed backhand after UConn funneled the puck to the front of the net. Watches Tattle's going to try to get it there. It goes off his right leg. He can't corral it again. And then there's just the nice play out of the zone by Nolan Renwick up to the side. Watch here, he's going to chip it. There's a battle, seal the wall again by Charlie Russell. Those are the details there, Eric. Renwick doesn't put it middle ice. He keeps it wall. Russell gets there, and then a composed Taylor Makar, the senior. I think that's going to seal it for Maine.
His second goal of the game, his 18th of this season. Coming in as a transfer, finding a new home, as so many of these Maine Black Bears have. And what a culture Ben Barr and company has built over the last 4 seasons. Year 1 under Ben Barr with Maine, they went 7-22-4. They've built from there to 15 wins in year 2, 23 wins last year. And now trying to finish off win number 24 of this season. What an effort to get through last night. A game that they were up 2-0, then fell behind in the third period before the late goal by Antonacci and the overtime, the 2 overtime winner by Nolan Renwick. And they get to this game today. Their captain, Lyndon Breen, gets them the first one, and they have gone from there. One of the absolute blue bloods in college hockey. These Black Bears are in hibernation no more. They're back on top of Hockey East. The final score tonight.
The state of Maine is having a good time right now.
What a night this is going to be.
4 years of Ben Bar. 4 years, so it's not long though for this kind of turnaround. What an effort. You talked about it, Eric. After last night's marathon game, we know they're young, we know they're kids, but still to be able to recover from that against a team that had that it factor in UConn. They showed it last night, right? They showed high level over BU. But Maine was ready. Maine was ready, and to have Lyndon Breen score the first goal, so apropos. Maybe a sign of things to come. Red Gendron smiling.
And what a season for those UConn Huskies.
Awesome.
Which will continue for the first time in the NCAA tournament coming up next week. But tonight was about the Maine Black Bears. And they put together a game that it's not the closest game you and I have ever watched, right? But it speaks exactly to what Ben Bar has created with this Maine team.
This was not one of those wide open. Well, first of all, they don't play wide open games. They play, again, physical, aggressive pace style hockey, just like UConn does. But what I loved about, I talked about this, is the little things to this game. They, you know, they didn't get frazzled. They didn't try and do something too much. And it was very controlled by both teams in the first period. But Maine was able to figure out some ways to, you know, re-attack and get those goals to get the lead. And I just feel like once they got the lead, there was something different about this one. You scored the first goal last night, this Northeastern, and you're like, oh, watch out. Never had that feel in here. It always felt like Maine was in. They had that thing, that it factor tonight.
And talking about doing it in different ways, right? Obviously the double overtime yesterday, but 61 shots in yesterday's game. 23 is all they needed today.
Yeah, that speaks to the type of game, though, this was. And, you know, you had another team, an opponent that was very structured, very respectful of how they wanted to play as well. So, different mindset. These two teams really good, and both of them are going to represent Hockey East beautifully starting next week in the NCAA 16, field of 16.
Maine will be a #1 seed in that tournament, one of 2 #1 seeds for Hockey East. UConn should be a 2 seed, and we'll wait to see where they go after the Black Bears. And the empty netter by Taylor McCarr, his second goal of this game, is what seals it. And the celebration for Maine, 21 years in the making. The Maine Black Bears are Hockey East champs. Let's go downstairs to the ceremony with public address announcer John Dolan.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to ice level and welcome Hockey East Commissioner Steve Metcalf for the presentation of the 2025 Hockey East Tournament Championship Awards. Members of the media have chosen 6 players for the Steve Nasro Hockey East All-Tournament team. Please welcome Steve Nasro to present the awards. First, in goal, a sophomore from Maine, Albin Boya. On defense, a junior from Maine, Luke Antonacci. And the senior from Maine, David Brazil. Next, the forwards. First, a sophomore from UConn, Joey Muldowney. A junior from Maine, Owen Fowler. And a senior from Maine, Harrison Scott. Members of the media have also selected the recipient of the Bill Flynn Award, recognizing the most valuable player in the Hockey East Tournament. Please welcome Tim Flynn for the presentation. This year's winner of the Bill Flynn Award as the tournament's most valuable player is a sophomore from Maine, Albin Boya. And now, for the 40th time, please welcome Tim Lamoriello to assist Commissioner Metcalf with the presentation of the Lamoriello Trophy. And we call upon Coach Ben Barr, Captains Lyndon Breen and David Brazil to come forward. For the 6th time in program history, the Hockey East champions are the University of Maine Black Bears.
One of the special traditions That Maine will live in the rafters in this building for the next year. For the 6th time, they are Hockey East champions.
What a performance. And, I mean, you can feel the pride, right? You can feel it. You can see it. And I know a lot of guys that played college hockey at Maine, and I know that they are absolutely ecstatic right now.
Been waiting for this for a long time.
A long time, yes. And these guys, just like UConn, really epitomize team. There are, you know, you got Boya and net, but they didn't just win it with him. He, huge part of it, but it's